Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. This is going to be my Arrow episode 16 video, deep dive into the history of the League of Assassins and the lineage of Ra's al Ghul. Because there were a couple really big WTF reveals, I'm just going to start with that first, start with a couple explainers. So careful for spoilers if you haven't seen the episode yet. So starting with the Lazarus pit. This was really the biggest surprise of the episode, mostly because they've been telling us all along that fantastical things like this didn't really exist in the Arrowverse, or the Flareverse, however you want to think about it. Since we know it exists now, when we start to talk about more powers, other characters with superpowers on Arrow, we should just, think of it in terms of, Arrow hasn't done it yet, but that doesn't mean it won't ever do it. So even if they say like time travel, Superman, Batman, crazy stuff isn't happening on Arrow, it just means it's not happening right now. Doesn't mean it won't ever happen. I think Stephen Amell said in an interview before the season started, when people were asking him if Ra's al Ghul was going to come on in season 3, he was like, I think Arrow has proven as a show that all the things that people want, we will do eventually. We'll get to it eventually. Just to get you guys even more excited for season 4 crazy stuff on Arrow, Stephen Amell said the thing that he's most excited to show people is the Comic-Con trailer this summer. That would be like season 4 stuff. So I think it implies that magic is coming into the Arrowverse. The Lazarus Pit is like the backdoor to magic. There was also some interview quotes where they were talking about the Vixen cartoon, the digital cartoon. Her powers are based on magic. So there's going to be some interaction between the TV show, the live action TV show, and the cartoon. Not direct crossover, but it's just like magic will exist in the Arrowverse. As for the way they're actually explaining the Lazarus Pit in the Arrowverse, its effects, only work for a certain amount of time. It's not infinitely renewable. They kind of got into that on the Batman cartoon Demon's Quest, where Ra's al Ghul tries to blackmail Batman into becoming the next Ra's al Ghul, taking over the League of Assassins. There was also a run in the comics where Batman goes all over the world trying to destroy all the Lazarus Pits with Bane, no less. So what we should all think about is if there's going to be any Lazarus Pit twists, aside from characters getting dumped in and resurrected. I think when you talk about Lazarus Pits, resurrection is just a given. So usually when there's a twist, it's when someone is like super dead and then they come back. And I don't think that I think Katie Lotz is going to be playing a different character on the spin-off show. So just moving into top 5 moments, lots of awesome stuff in this episode, starting with number 5, the history of the League of Assassins. The comics take a slightly different approach. Ra's al Ghul is seen as just being much, much older than he is on the show. But it's the same idea. He finds the Lazarus Pit. They've existed for a long time, so he is not like the first person in the history of the world to ever use a Lazarus Pit. What I did like is that he teased Oliver that he can change the League's mission and their operating orders. The League serves Ra's al Ghul in whatever he wants to do. So if Oliver tells them to stop killing people, they'll stop killing people. If he wants to completely change their mission and use them to clean up Starling City, that's what they'll do. They really want us to see that Oliver's stressing about this, and it's not over at all. Like, Oliver might relent based on what happened at the end. Merlin was not lying when he said that the offer Ra's al Ghul made is not an offer, and if he does not accept, there are going to be dire consequences. That was what that crazy moment at the end of the episode was about. Ra's al Ghul dressing up as the Arrow to get people in the city thinking that the Arrow was a murderer. There was a scene in the trailer from a future episode where Oliver's unmasking someone in his costume. So it looks like Ra's al Ghul is going to have a bunch of people from the League of Assassins dressing up as the Arrow, walking around killing people. This was a nice twist on what Merlin was doing with Thea, like trying to bring her closer by doing something really terrible. Moving on to number 4, Nyssa is super pissed that Oliver is the new heir. She has a really nice friendship that's developing with Laurel. I'll be really interested to see where that goes. It seems fairly positive, so she might work with Team Arrow to try and stop Ra's al Ghul from destroying the Arrow's reputation in Starling City. She wants to be the heir, Oliver wants out of the deal, so it's like the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and right now their collective enemy is Ra's al Ghul. I am such a huge fan of Katrina Law on the show, so any plot that allows her to be in more scenes, I am all for. I was a little surprised at how casually she dismissed Thea's confession. I think she'd come around a little bit by the end of the episode, but I still think she's skeptical. She still blames Merlin for everything, as she should. It really is Merlin's fault. Because of Thea and Nyssa now, there's such an awesome through line about awful dads. And, Quentin and Laurel's relationship is also on the rocks. It's very rocky, but it's not quite as bad as Ra's al Ghul and Nyssa or Thea and Merlin. So I'm not lumping Quentin in with the 2 other awful dads. Speaking of which, on to number 3, Quentin is now on the outs with Team Arrow. Despite that hopeful ending, I think given the WTF Ra's al Ghul reveal, Quentin is going to do a 180 again, and he's going to start going after the Arrow. Someone meeting your description has been going around killing people with arrows. As good of a detective as Quentin is, I think he's still looking for a reason to hate the Arrow, so he's just going to latch onto that. That being said, you guys can let me know if you agree or not, but Quentin knew that his daughter Sarah was an assassin. She killed people for a living. She lived by the sword. So don't you think that he would be emotionally prepared, or at least a little bit prepared, for her to die by the sword? It's understandable he's pissed Sarah's dead, and everyone lied to him about it. It's kind of like Thea's situation. She's pissed everyone lied to her too. But it's not Oliver's fault that she joined the League of Assassins. She made that choice herself. It's all about the choices and the consequences of those choices. Mark Guggenheim said that they would be exploring, quote-unquote consequences of terrible decisions in the back half of the season. I think that's what's going to wind up with someone leaving the show, someone getting killed off. We still don't have any confirmation about who that's going to be. But I did like the idea that Thea and Roy are getting close again, because Thea's kind of like the Beth Green of Arrow. Anybody who starts to go out with her ends up getting killed off the show. First there's Tommy. They had a little thing for a little bit, even though Tommy wasn't totally into it. He's dead. There was the guy from the League of Assassins who was masquerading as the DJ. He died. Now we have Colton. So I think we should put Colton on the watch list. Just be careful. Although he was on the set. There was a picture of him on the set recently, but that could be smokescreen. On to number 2. This is a little bit more of a fun one. So Felicity kind of rejoins Team Arrow. Like, she's kind of back on the team. She and Oliver are on good terms. I like how she implied that he would become the most handsome demon's head ever. There was a lot of body contact and stuff. So, any of you are like huge Felicity fans, yes, that's still simmering below the surface. Ray Palmer's going to go off on the spin-off show after season 3, so the landing strip will be cleared for Oliver and Felicity once again, at least by the end of the season. Really, the funny thing is that like the awkward moment where Oliver came in and Felicity and Ray were flirting, when he greeted Ray, he was using his Arrow voice, like it lowered a couple octaves. Just as much as Oliver does not approve of Felicity with Ray, Felicity does not approve of Evil Incorporated. Moments like that, when they don't do them too often, are really funny. Like, yeah, you have the big WTF action scenes, like in the police station, but then you have these really personal character moments. And finally, my number 1 WTF moment, Ra's al Ghul is going to blackmail Oliver into taking over the League of Assassins. Based on the progression of the trailer footage that we've seen, it seems like this will crescendo with someone dying. It's just like last year with the Mirakuru plot. Roy ended up killing that cop, almost ended up killing a bunch of his friends too. That was around episode 1920, then Moira died. So shit hits the fan, then someone dies. I think it's going to follow the same pattern this season. What Ra's al Ghul is doing right now, like his plan to blackmail Oliver, is very similar to some Batman stories. So I'll be interested to see, after it's all said and done, which characters they mix and match. Like, who is the Robin of the group? Who's the one that Ra's al Ghul threatens to kill? And who's the one that ends up in the Lazarus pit at the end of the season? That's actually a good question. So let me know in the comments, who do you think is going to die this season? And who do you think is going to end up in the Lazarus pit? I'll say right now, my money on person ending up in the Lazarus pit is Ra's al Ghul himself. I think they're going to wind up killing him at the end, and then someone's going to dump his body in the pit. No matter what fantastical stuff that they're allowed to do, there's no way Arrow as a show is going to fridge the Ra's al Ghul character at the end of the season. He will walk or crawl away somehow. We do know he's not going to be the big villain of season 4. I believe that we're going to start getting teases for who that person is in episodes 20 through 23, maybe not to the actual finale. Right now, Damien Dark is the best theory because it's rumored to be a villain that fits more with Felicity's skill set. Just so she's more of an asset to the team in fighting the big bad. As for right now, she's not much help against Ra's al Ghul. So a couple really awesome things to look forward to in next week's episode. So we are going to have the Diggle-Lila wedding, and it's a Suicide Squad episode. So be sure to subscribe to get my video. I'm really wondering how much they're going to reference Green Arrow and Black Canary's wedding from the comics. And for those that are asking, I am doing a Q&A for The Flash and Arrow this week. I'll post that tomorrow. I'm finishing my Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. video right now, so that'll actually be the next video. But then after that, I'll post my Q&A video. I know there was a lot of confusion about this episode of The Flash. Episode 16, next week's episode, is going to be like part 2 of episode 15. He went back in time, so he's going to be like reliving all those events again. Just in case you guys haven't seen it yet, you can click here from that Flash video from last night, and you can click here for my top 5 Ra's al Ghul stories. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Now let's all do the thing.